Today on the 50 Pound Brain, we're going to work on Higgins, put in some carpet, put in some other dash trim stuff that we didn't do last time. It's 40 degrees outside. We need to go to the hardware store, so we're going to go ahead and take him for a drive. Running out of opportunities to drive him as it gets colder during the day, so we got to maximize. So let's do that. And in case you notice, we're rolling with no water temp indication, no speed indication, and as you see, maybe you'll see it when we drive, that this tack bounces horribly. This is a second tack that Fred bought, and the tack that was in it and the speedometer, water temp, and I have another gas gauge that I've sent off for repair to a place in Reseda, West Valley Instruments, and the speedometer that's in it bounces horribly. The other tack, when we're sitting, like with the car off, is showing 500 RPM, and I want to convert the water temp gauge to electronic. So that's what I have another gas gauge, because this one never shows above half a tank, even if it's full to the gills, leaking out of the filler neck. So set those off to get replaced. I'll show you when they come back. I'm expecting a beautiful job. The other thing we got going today is I've got a microphone down by the shifter. We might put in some sound deadening material under the carpet. I don't know how much I have. I bought a used kit, or leftovers, from a guy in the British Car Club. And so we're going to see what the noise level is right now. And then if I decide I have enough to do like the front footwells, we'll put it in and then do another sound comparison. Yay, here we are. Doesn't that look nice? He's very nice. I've already kind of scratched it up because it took me exactly that long to break the knob. So let me show you what's going on here. Okay. So what happens when everything is working well is this little brass peg will retract. Let's see if I can show you this. Well, it's retracted now. But it'll retract as you slip the knob on. The knob has a ramp molded into it to retract that. And there's this little piece of spring steel back here that's supposed to push it back out once it aligns with the hole that's in the knob. Well, this thing didn't retract, and it ended up, when I was trying to push it on, broke the knob. So the other lesson is order 2 knobs. if you're going to order these things, just because they're cheap and you don't have to wait another week or whatever. Let's see if I can get in here. Not get my big sausage fingers in the way. See, that's what's supposed to happen in theory when everything's working well. But that little piece of spring steel is just worn out. It doesn't have any spring left in it. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is probably taking this out altogether and either tapping that hole, or maybe it does have a little bit of spring but not enough to push that pin. Yeah, because once you get the knob on it, there's no way to push that pin down. And this, yeah. So probably what I'm going to end up doing is taking that pin out. See, look at that, it even just kind of moves around. And tapping that hole, and then running a set screw through the knob into this hole. So, well, at least our escutcheon, I think that's how it's said, is in place with the beautiful little flathead screws that we got at Ace Hardware a little bit ago. But yeah, now I've got to order another knob, but I'm not going to pay the shipping on just one knob. Shipping would be more than the knob. So I'm kicking myself for not ordering two. So let's press on with our carpet installation. So we got to vacuum out this floor first thing. So let's do that. And here's our broken knob. Pretty useless. I would just hog it out on the drill press or the mill or whatever, but it's a hex in there to match that shaft hex. So, and it was pretty deep, as you can tell, because the recess for the pin, the hole for the pin, was right there. So it busted all that skirt off. So, oh well, it is what it is. When you don't get what you want, you get experience. We got some experience today, about $4 worth. So, once again, order two knobs. Let's get on with the flooring. So here's my sound deadening kit that I bought used. So I got crying kids across the street for whatever reason. I think that'll be enough. The 4 big pieces will be enough to do the footwells and maybe some other piece parts. So we'll see. So when you're working with the aluminium tape, sometimes it's tough to get the backing if you have the kind that has the backing paper. So what I do is take a corner and bend the metal side back in on itself, because the paper will straighten back out and the metal will stay where it is, because it's metal, and that's what metals do. They bend and they like it, and it works well even for my big sausage fingers. And we had already clean this floor with glass cleaner. Get all this stuff to stick, because the sound deadening stuff has an adhesive backing, so I want to make sure it sticks well. Now what's cool about these footwells is we're dealing with a straight side on this side, so we can measure the top end there, come straight down the side, measure this, kick in, and then measure here to where we're going to stop our sound deadener, and even for these features. And it'll transfer over nice, because that's a square piece. And so we don't have to do any, if we had double angles to deal with and all that stuff, the fit would be much uglier. So I'm glad this is the way it is. So let's do, okay, get your pencil and paper. We're going to need you to write down some measurements. The first one, 9 3/4 plus 3 1/2. You didn't know you'd be adding fractions today, did you? You slept through that in math class. What did they say? 9 3/4 plus 3 1/2. There's 12 3/4 plus another half. 13 1/4. All right, 13 1/4. That's our first number. I think we'll not go over this lip in case I have to take the hump out. So now we're at 12. Oh, here we go. Looks like 12 7/8 plus 3 1/2. So man. So 12 plus 3 is 15. 7/8 plus a half is 4/8. That's 11/8. So that's another inch. What did I say? 12, 15. 7/8 plus 4/8, 11/8. 16 3/8. So what was our first number? Yeah, I don't remember either. You didn't write it down like you were supposed to. I think it was 9 3/4. 13 1/4. 16 3/8. Okay, got it. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to put this boot on. And I tell you what, the old aluminum tape stuck really well, which is fine. It doesn't matter if it's under here or not, just as long as I get this lip clean. I don't want the lip to be too fat, but yeah, this stuff, as long as it's sticking to a clean surface, it actually stuck quite well. Like I said, this is real duct tape made for HVAC ducting. So take this off. Of course, they couldn't get a finer thread. Yeah, I'll take this off too. It's just got the standard lip. Let's see. I guess it actually goes like this. Oh, there we go. Okay. That wasn't as painful as I thought it would be. And then we got our U-joint cover plug. Okay, that was easy. Now, if I can ever get Mrs. O to ride in this again, she won't think she's looking death in the eye with the U-joint right there. Because now, you know, we got the armor plating center hump that'll protect her if this thing comes apart. Okie doke. Let's press on with our sound deadening. Well, good job on the measurements. I was thinking about I need to trim out for this, but I don't think I do. I don't see me ever. This is where you jack the car if you need to change a tire, and I don't ever see me using that. A, because I don't have a jack, and B, it just seems kind of cheesy. So I'll use get a miniature floor jack to carry. But good job on the measurements. I don't think I really needed to tape down this harness, but I did, and it's okay. But all right, let's press on with the driver's side. There's our first piece on the driver's side. Not too shabby. So now the question is, what do I do next? I think I'm going to do back there behind the pedals on both and on the opposite side, the vertical, because that's where the majority of our noise is going to come from. It's from the engine compartment and down into the transmission hump. But the hump's going to be a little bit tougher because it's some complex dimensions, complex bends. Because at the bell housing, it's round and yet it's tapered at the same time. This part right here is pretty much just a square hump, so that part won't be so bad, except the servicing access is over on that side. It's covered with aluminum tape. And then right here, I forget what this plug is, but I think you need access to that, so I might have to cut out for that. Maybe I'll cut out for it when it's time to get into it. So let's press on. Actually, before we cut and apply these pieces behind the pedals, let's pull out our carpet kit and see just how high that goes up. Wow. Okay, here's our carpet kit. A couple of pieces I can figure out. The ones that have the foot pads on them. And the one that has the shifter hole, and that's the emergency brake. So that drapes down. The rest of these are going to be trial and error. And I'm going to guess a whole lot of error. Yeah. Okay, well, let's see how we do. Alright, so I think I've identified where most of the pieces go, because they were an unusual enough shape. So this is the back floor, which goes under the seat, so the seat would have to come out to install this piece. Same thing on this side. There's a couple of wrap pieces that go around right down here. After this piece is in, there's that, and there's another one goes over here. Got all that identified, the footwells, and the piece that goes above the hump. It's just not held in well right now, because everything is just, but yeah, this goes up in here. Sorry if this is shaky. I grab the magnets to use it to hold stuff in place. The shifter boot cover, which I'm guessing actually goes under this lip. Probably so. It would look better for show. That wheel well, this wheel well. So, but I do have some pieces that I don't. And maybe once those pieces are installed. What's strange about this piece and that piece is it's bound on one side. So I don't know what all's going on there. And like I said, once I get the rest of them in, maybe it become apparent by their shapes where they go. I don't know. What I will say is that I don't look forward to pulling these seats out. They're painful to put in. But that's what we'll do. Maybe we'll start with the passenger seat. I don't want to render him undrivable because I need to be able to put him back in the storage unit because it's supposed to rain this evening. And as you can see, I don't have room for him in the garage anymore. So maybe I'll pull that seat out and we can see at least what half of this looks like. So here's what it looks like with no seat in the passenger side. Still have to pull up the seat belts and clean up this. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. So let me get stuff to clean that up. Well, I couldn't find my rubbing alcohol, so we're going to use glass cleaner. To look at photos, if I can find photos of another TR3. Let's see if I can see that detail. That looks pretty good. Alright, so if any of you in the viewing audience or anybody in the looking at TR3 videos and come across this and you know where these pieces go, that'd be great. Just leave something in the comments to give me a hand. I'm gonna have to start packing this up. Unfortunately, the weather is turning uglier and I need to get old Higgins back under cover before the rains come. So we're on a pause for now. Plus I've got some things to do with my seat hardware so that it isn't so painful to remove and install the seats. So there's going to be a little bit of fabrication involved in that, which is always fun. So here's the problem with the current seat mounting arrangement. It's bolts and nuts. The nuts fit in the track just fine, but they're not wide enough to be, I don't know what you call it, anti-rotating. And there's no really good way. I had to ram a flat blade screwdriver in there while I ran the bolt down to get that thing kind of tight. And it's, as you can see, not kind of tight enough because it didn't pull down. There's a gap between my spacer block and the seat bottom. And then I have the same issue mounting it in the car. Bolt through the top, the bolt head fits in the track okay, but not enough to be anti-rotating. And then I've got a nut under the car, so I hope that comes out. So that's the next issue I got to deal with. Since the seats are coming out anyway, I might as well make it a decent mounting arrangement. So I've got to fabricate some anti-rotating hardware, and then so that when it comes time to put them back in, it's not quite so painful. So got seat hardware to make. I've got to clean up before the rains come. I didn't get much done today, unfortunately. I really was kind of hoping to have carpet in. I was also thinking that the carpet kit would be a little bit bigger pieces that were attached, so it'd be a little bit easier to figure out who goes where. But it is a nice carpet kit, and once again, hats off to Fred who bought all this stuff before I got the car from him. So stay tuned, we will have an interior in this thing relatively quick. Thanks for watching.